Right, welcome, ladies and gentlemen. So, you and I both know, if we go out and we watch movies, we're well aware now that these films are being catered to a small minority, or at least the minority demographic. And we know that for a few reasons. One, because it's patently obvious, obviously. But secondly, of course, the box office tickets, the box office results. You are catering to a minority audience that isn't interested in your product, which is okay when it's an independent film and it's made for that sort of audience. And what I mean by that is that the budget's appropriate for that, the marketing's appropriate for that, the IP is also appropriate for that. But when it's not okay is when it's a blockbuster film, when it's an IP that has an inbuilt fan base, the majority of people, right, that wants to see this product in the way it's intended. And that's the other part. It's not okay when you're targeting and reshaping an IP for the minority demographic, right? The people that actually aren't interested in it, the people that aren't actually fans. However, studio executives don't believe that. In fact, they believe the IP isn't universal enough. Apparently there is no superhero fatigue, right? But it's actually, we need to make the IP more universal, which is heavily comical when you have the likes of Spider-Man No Way Home. Was it No Way Home? Far From Home? Whatever it was called. No Way Home, that was the one, wasn't it? Crazy numbers. Crazy numbers. That's not universal enough. Right. Okay. Well, that was very, very well received. And then you have the likes of the Marvels, which, it wasn't an absolutely atrocious film. It just wasn't particularly good, and definitely been butchered in the edit bay as well. And then Ms. Marvel, these kind of films. Right, not universal enough. Okay. It is that you're actually narrowing the market specifically. You actually aren't appealing to the main audience base. So I guess in some regards, some roundabout way, which this isn't the take home that they're getting, it isn't universal enough. It doesn't actually need to be universal. You just need to refocus the demographic target. So anyway, I thought we'd dive into this today. Bit of a long opening monologue. If you're new here, do hit subscribe. And I will say as well, ladies and gents, please do follow me over on both Twitter and Instagram at Mistakes Reviews. If you like what I do here, please do consider supporting on Patreon, which is linked down below, as well as with a tip via Streamlabs. That's linked down below. Please do support the channel because YouTube just isn't a massive fan of people that go anywhere against the grain. So, yeah, that would be great. Anyway, also, side note, I've still got to hold the microphone because my stand for this broke and they're on back order. So, I got to hold you like an idiot, which is very annoying. But anyway, let's dive into this today. So, film producer claims that studio executives don't believe in superhero fatigue. Rather, they think the problem is that their IP isn't universal enough, which, like I said, in some regards, in a roundabout way, they are right, but it doesn't need to be universal. You just need to refocus the IP, your target demographic. That's all you need to do, which is heavily comical, but they're never going to do it. Side note, this article is linked down below in the description box as well. It's from That Park Place. So film producer Priyanka Mattu shared that studio executives believe the problem with many of their big budget superhero films is not actually fatigue, but rather their IP isn't universal enough. And FYI, I'm in two camps, whether it's superhero fatigue or not. I think there's definitely an element of fatigue because, when you get an advert for another thing being developed, you're like, oh my God, it's another cape shit. Right? I think there is absolutely an element of superhero fatigue. But I think that's been brought around by bad superhero movies. Now, if you had a litany of fantastic superhero movies, would that combat any fatigue that's out there? It's debatable, but I think so. But yeah, apparently it's just that their IP isn't universal enough. Okay then. So, as first reported by Fandom Pulse, Matu shared to X, I regret to inform you that I've now had multiple conversations with studio execs who still believe in who still don't believe in superior fatigue. They legit think the problem is that their IP isn't universal enough. As predicted, they think Barbie was about the doll. It was a bit about the doll because it did have a massive built-in fan base, but it's also about pretty good marketing as well, which was somewhat false advertisement. And then she would then share a meme mocking these studio executives, questioning why would anyone listen to what the audience wants, which is very true. Women are so hard to read. Well, actually, we just want such complex creatures. If you just listen, it's so mysterious. This is true. I mean, the audience has said time and time again what the issue is. Massively. And this article says that there's likely a lot of truth to what Matu has to say, because former Marvel Studios Vice President Victoria Alonso previously shared back in 2021 during the Academy Museum of Motion Pictures Outfest Legacy Awards, that is a mouthful, that diversity and inclusion is not a political game for us. It is 100% a responsibility, because you don't get to have the global success that we have given the Walt Disney Company without the support of people around the world of every kind of human there is. Actually, you do, because the Disney's target demographic should be, and always has traditionally been, the family. So you actually do, believe it or not. And then Victoria Alonso, who's in charge of, like, the head of VFX, in part you've only had the rampant success that you've had because of Marvel. Like, Disney's absolutely had an element of success. You know, very, very big success, of course. But the biggest film franchise in history now, in terms of box office numbers, was Marvel, and that had a built-in fan base. It's not because of Disney, and it's not because of appealing to worldwide audiences. That's actually not the case. It's the fact that the product itself already appealed to a worldwide audience. So, yeah. And then comically, when it becomes patently obvious that you are trying to change things left, right and centre to appeal to not the audience, lo and behold, people start checking out. I mean, the proof's in the pudding. A previous appearance at the Annecy International Animation Film Festival, she said that diversity, inclusion and gender parity all go hand in hand. We're showing the world as it is. There's about 6,000 characters in the Marvel library that we have access to. So if this goes right, we'll be telling these stories for many, 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 many generations to come. And the importance of laying the ground for what's to come is that in those stories, there's many different characters that you can actually voice. The reason that we have success consistently is because our audience is global. You cannot have a global audience and not somehow start to represent it. Well, I mean, actually, you can, and you did. Funnily enough, you literally did. You literally did. So bizarre. For us, it was really, really, really important to have that. For the longest of time, we heard a woman-led film will never open. What? I say please check Captain Marvel. Made a lot of money. Kill Bill has entered the chat? What the fuck are you on about? These people love rewriting history. It's so frustrating. Then they always told us that Black Panther was never going to open and that nobody wanted a completely black cast, and that made 1.3 billion. I mean, yeah, you're right. Like, maybe you're right. I don't know whether people said they didn't want a completely black cast. I'm sure there's films, many films, in fact, which have a completely black cast. It also didn't completely have a black cast, because I'm pretty certain there were several white people in it. Just throwing that out there. Several. But it also, in part, made $1.3 billion because of guilt. People were guilted into saying that it was absolutely fantastic. They thought that they needed to. And they thought that the movie was beyond reproach because it was a cultural behemoth. Which is bollocks. So you can look at it from the social point of view, the cultural point of view, but truthfully, this is a business. From a fiscal point of view, you're leaving money on the table by not representing. Yes and no. But anyway, I mean, this is hilarious. I don't want to get into any more of the back and forth with Disney, but it is true. I think it's pretty obvious that these statements are true. Not universal enough. Again, you know, I think actually the idea is that you've not honed in on your target audience that you're supposed to target, obviously, which is the majority, by the way, funnily enough. Because if you're talking from a fiscal perspective, you want to appeal to the broadest market possible. So when you're saying not universal enough, yes and no, but you just need to re-hone it. And there absolutely is an element of fatigue. 100% there is. So there you go. People stewarding IPs that they've got no right doing. It's just bizarre. So leave your thoughts down below. Love to hear it. I hope you're having a great day. Leave a like and please share the video. Take care. Bye-bye now.